That's a whole other skill that you've got to manage to keep someone's attention.
Absolutely, especially in a world of short attention
Yeah.
spans.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Weekly Show. I'm once again joined by Ridley, and this time we're doing a follow-up to to our little creator interview that we did pretty much about 2 years ago, I would say, yeah. Which is, wow, really interesting to think how time has just gone by.
I mean, my hair's pretty much been growing non-stop since then.
Yeah. Hello and welcome back to the Daily Weekly YouTube channel, and today I'm doing another interview, this time with good friend Ridley. Yeah, I'm going to ask you the same questions that I asked you last time. There are 10 in total, and it's kind of all about your journey and your experience as a content creator, and I suppose it'd be more interesting now to see how things have changed. 2 years, a lot can happen, maybe, and not what hasn't happened. It'd be interesting to know what you've been up to. How do you feel?
In general, or about this?
Both.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I really want to see how my answers compare to the first interview. I think it'll be very interesting to watch back.
We've been talking about getting together and doing some bits, but I didn't mention this, and I almost wasn't going to do it because I thought, oh no, we won't do that. But here we are, kind of throwing it on you to get like a real response, I would suppose.
Yeah. Am I your first repeat interview?
At the moment you are, yes.
Oh, yes. History.
First of all, for those who don't know who you are, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, okay. I'm Ridley, as you may have gathered. I am currently a screenwriting major at university with a minor in film production. Although I do graduate this year. Finally, it's been a long time coming, but hopefully I can escape with a passable grade.
That's what everyone hopes for, isn't it, when they go do those things?
Yeah. So a lot of my time is currently taken up by my dissertation, which is a feature film screenplay, along with some other various essays and presentation stuff that I've got to do for university. But I've done all my filmmaking now as far as university filmmaking goes. That's all out the way. I can't mess that up anymore.
Well,
Since our last interview, I have made a couple of films, a couple of short films. Most recently, an entirely new role for me. I was a props manager.
Oh, right.
For my third year final project. My goodness, that was stressful.
Really?
Yeah, dealing with props.
Wow.
Shockingly stressful.
Oh, I wouldn't expect that.
So much more respect for people who do that as a profession.
I mean, because I suppose, I don't know very much about the whole thing, but I wouldn't imagine it being a difficult job to do.
It's almost naivety on my part going into the role, but I thought it would be so much easier because I'll be honest, in my previous efforts making films, I've been a director or a writer. Yeah. Or both, and that at least you feel like you're in control to an extent, whereas with this, no. Not remotely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to put a lot of faith into other people's hands in terms of, say you've ordered a prop online, you gotta hope it arrives in time.
Well, yeah, I suppose there's that,
and, hoping that people will be there to help you carry the props to locations and what have you. It's probably one of my most stressful experiences in film.
Oh, wow.
The film came out okay, though. Yeah, so I'm glad I did it because it gave me a different look, a different aspect of filmmaking to try. But it was stressful. I also do spoiler-free film reviews and series reviews as well, actually, on my FilmIsRidley Instagram and website, where I post almost daily.
I've seen them, I read them, and you really
I've been going hard this year.
You have, definitely, and it's not just there's actual thought put into the reviews. I'm not. You're not just like, oh, this is really good. It's like, oh, it's really good, and I think you should watch it. Like, there's more to it. There's some substance to it.
I try and be critical. Almost sounds negative, but I do try and break it down a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, with things like Instagram, character limits and time constraints, I can't do a whole essay. Maybe that'll be something I'll try to do in the future once my degree is out of the way. Maybe I'll take more time and write longer ones. But for now, I try and keep it relatively condensed and just get the gist of kind of an actor performance or the cinematography across. But I do really enjoy it, even though I've been doing it 6 years now. I still consider it a hobby and not like I've got a poster.
Yeah.
Oh. No, it's still fun for me.
Oh, I mean, that's a good thing.
I get so many people who will message me, and they're usually friends of mine already, for example, but they'll say, oh, I really liked your review, actually, or that encouraged me to go watch this, and it's really nice, to be honest. So that's probably about the gist of what I'm doing at the moment. I have just recorded my first podcast episode after umming and ahhing for about 3 years.
Yeah.
But finally got it done. It's on there. It's on Spotify. And I think about 10 people who listen to it, but it's worth it.
I know from experience how, doing it is one thing, and then seeing how it does after is a whole other thing that you kind of had to contend with. You said you put it off for so long. Are you glad that you finally done it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I made the Instagram account about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I really thought I was going to make it back then. But then there were a couple of little things, and I think I was procrastinating a lot. And then one evening last week or something, I just thought, you know what? To hell with it. I'll do it right now.
Yeah.
So I just got my phone out and I recorded it, slapped some royalty-free music onto Spotify it went, and that was that. I didn't really expect it would work as well as it did in terms of how quickly it went onto Spotify.
Yeah.
I thought I'd have to kind of record it separately and then work out how to put like an MP4 file onto it or something. I really had no experience with recording. It was really not cathartic, but it was kind of it was a weight off my shoulders to finally just get it out there.
Yeah. But, you did it by yourself.
Yeah.
Which many people, including myself, I'd find it difficult.
It is difficult. It is really difficult. You have no one to bounce off of.
Yeah.
Almost. Because I remember, I think 18 months ago or something, I tried to record it, and I'd written essentially a whole script for it. And I thought this would take me a good half an hour to get through. It came out in about 10. And I thought,
I've been there, I've done that. Especially when, I was doing the Daily Weekly podcast last year, for example, when it came down to where it's just going to be me.
Yeah.
And it's not ideal. I haven't written the episodes for this, but I gave it a go. One of them, which would have been at least half an hour with somebody else, it came out at 15 minutes. Was it even worth doing?
It's almost deflating, because now you think you've just talked to yourself for 15 minutes.
So I stopped it for like a year, and I've started doing it again recently, but I've gone into it with a new outlook. Like, I'm doing this, it is just me, but I'm making it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you ready to do it as you are?
I don't mind doing it by myself. I enjoy talking about films and TV and what have you. I think the more I do it as well, the more refined it will get in terms of the content and my confidence speaking. If I can get guests on it, I think I will try at some point, but I'm not going to put a timer on it. I'm not going to stress myself out over it. If it comes down to it, I'll do the whole thing alone.
That's a similar thing with me. It's like, it's always easier said than done to say, oh yeah, we can work together and we'll get a guest on, but there's a lot of logistics that go into those things.
I mean, a perfect example is kind of us trying to make content together.
Yeah.
Where I've been 100+ miles away.
Yeah.
It's just not feasible.
No. So it's one of those things where you're doing something solo and you have to be in the right mindset.
Yes.
I think if you going into it, I'm doing this by myself. It's better than, I was going to do it with them, but now I'm doing it just me.
Yeah.
It sets the tone, and then you're kind of thinking,
Yeah, and you don't want to see it as a chore.
It's got to be something you enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's got to be fun, otherwise what's the point?
Exactly. Kind of leads me on to my next question is, how long have you been creating content?
Ooh.
And I suppose, what do you define as content?
I guess I would count that as probably when I first started my film reviews, and they weren't anywhere near as long or as thought out necessarily as they are now. They would usually just be about 2, if you were lucky, 3 sentences being like, oh, I really enjoyed this film, especially this bit, go watch it. And that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
7 years. Oh, I feel old. Yeah, 7 years ago, I used to do just small little reviews. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of my Instagram, you'll find one for Casablanca, which is about 2 lines long, for example. I've come a long way. So there's reviews for days on there. My website's actually only been up for, I think I got a Snapchat memory of me after I first posted it. So it's only about a year old, just over a year. So a lot of the creation has happened relatively recently. For a long time it was just the casual reviews, and I wasn't even doing those that often. In fact, the FilmIsRidley Instagram was originally, it was a personal account that I just sometimes would post film recommendations on. Yeah. And then I kind of made the decision to switch over and just make it entirely film based. And I don't regret it at all, to be honest. I think it's turned out really well. A lot of people enjoy it. Recently I've had a bit of a boom in followers as well, which has been gratifying. It wasn't necessary, but it definitely sweetens it. You know, definitely. To know that there are people who are interested, actively interested. Yes. Most of the followers, as it is when you start off a very small channel or Instagram account or whatever it is, it's mostly your friends and your family that interact with it. So it's really nice to see people that, you know, I've never met before, I've never spoken to, you know, not from the same country, not from the same continent even, and they are actively following, liking, commenting, you know, and it's really gratifying to see that, because it makes you feel like you know, because there is a tendency when your family and friends are interacting, you think, oh, they're just doing that because they're my friends or family. Not that you don't appreciate it, but there is that kind of thought in your head. You know, it's the kind of thing where you go, oh, if you've got a boyfriend or girlfriend and they tell you look good, you think, oh, but you have to, because you're my partner, you have to do it. Yeah. But when a stranger gives nice you that,
the complete outside view in someone's, but then I feel like, you know that what you're doing, it must be good.
Yeah, like because this is a stranger. They don't have to do that. They've gone out of their way to do a like, for example. But it's still like you're sending that message theoretically across the world, essentially, to say, hey, good job. I enjoyed this content.
And I suppose we're in a world where there are so many different types of content, literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know, people could be scrolling, to make somebody stop and then read it. And I think that's another thing, you know, Instagram pictures, scroll, but to actually stop and read a post on Instagram especially, I think that's a whole other skill that you've got to manage to keep someone's attention.
Absolutely, especially in a world of short attention spans. It's just a paragraph, essentially. It's a big paragraph, but a paragraph nonetheless. Yeah. You know, that's still a lot for people to read on things like Instagram. Yeah. You know, so I appreciate it a lot, to be honest.
That was good. I enjoyed that. So,
me too.
Thank you very much for that. And just a final reminder for anyone who doesn't know where they will find you. I'll put all the links in the description, but otherwise, where will you be?
So most of my time I spend at FilmIsRidley on Instagram. There's a website. There's a Twitter, there's a Facebook, I'm all over the place. I also have a filmmaking Instagram, Lost Raccoon Films, and a podcast that I've recently started called the Lost Boy Podcast, so go check those out. Thank you.
I just, you know, who better to describe yourself than you? I let you take that away, but do check out all of Ridley's work. I mean, for the film reviews, I often comment and see them, and I was like, oh wow, I did not think of watching this, but this has intrigued me enough, and I've gone on and watched the films after. So, you know, even if you think, that doesn't really interest me, check them out anyway, because you might be surprised. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll be doing more of these interviews with some of the old faces and maybe some new ones too. But yeah, thank you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Daily Weekly Show, and hey, don't forget to keep your eyes peeled for the full extended version of this interview coming soon to the podcast.